Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Vivo! Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Bolo bhai. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo bhai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo bhai. Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kalachandi Radha Kalachandi Radhe. Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe. Govinda Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladev, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram, Sitaram, Jaya Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Lord Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo. Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahansa Parabhakacharya, Astatara Sata Shishimad. His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahansa Parabhakacharya, Astatara Sata Shishimad. His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Saimakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Chamuna Maya Ki Jai. Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Vranta Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Holy Diwali Day Ki Jai. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Transcendental Krishna Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava, Radha Madhava Shri Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Shri Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Kalachandji ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Damodar ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everyone together. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narotanam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudiyayat nastapaye shabadeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki om agyantimirandasya gyananjala shalakaya Chakshuranmilitanyena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshatayane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, good morning and welcome to another beautiful day in Sri Sri Radha Kalachandji Dham. This is a portal into the spiritual world. And every day we're very fortunate, we're very blessed to be here. And we should always share our heartfelt gratefulness for Radha and Kalachandji to let us stay in their abode here and serve them. It's the highest pleasure. It's the highest joy. So today is a very special day. We have, what is it called? Diwali. Yes, we have Diwali. So this is the day that Lord Ram came back to Ayodhya. And it's also another special day. Do you know why today is special other than Diwali? Any idea? Kali Puja. Yes. Anything else? That's not on the calendar. Today is actually the day that the Damodar Leela happened, so that's what we're celebrating all month long. It was on Diwali that actually this happened, that Krishna was bound to the mortar like that. And we're also going through the Bhagavatam with the pastime of Ajamil, and we have like half an hour, so we'll see what we can do. It'll be a short class, but I think Radha Kalachandji wanted to bless us with more kirtan this morning to celebrate all of that, so it's good. So we'll read from Canto 6, chapter 1, verses 57, 56, 57, and then it's going to go all the way down to, let me check, it's going to go all the 56 to 68. So can somebody start reading, please?
In the beginning, this Brahmana named Ajamil studied all the Vedic literatures. He's a reservoir of good character, good conduct, and good qualities. Firmly established in executing the Vedic injunctions, he was very mild and gentle. He kept his mind and senses under control. Furthermore, he was always truthful. He knew how to chant the Vedic mantras, and he was also very pure. Ajamil was very respectful to his spiritual master, the fire god guest, and the elderly members of his household. Indeed, he was free from false prestige. He was upright, benevolent to all living entities, and well-behaved. He would never speak nonsense or envy anyone.
So this is very important that we keep this in mind, because oftentimes when we think of the pastime of Ajamil, we just think, okay, he was very sinful his whole life, and then last minute he was chanting the name of Narayan, and then he got liberated from that. But we see actually that he has some really good pious samskaras, like some impressions, like he was living here, he was firmly established in executing all the Vedic injunctions. How many of us can say we're firmly established in executing all the Vedic injunctions? He studied all the Vedic literatures. So he came from a very pious background, and that helped him in the end, even after he got very degraded. So we'll keep going.
Once this Brahmana, Ajamil, following the order of his father, went to the forest to collect fruit and flowers, and the two kinds of grass called Samit and Kusha. On the way home, he came upon a Shudra, a very lusty fourth-class man who was shamelessly embracing and kissing a prostitute. The Shudra was smiling, singing, and enjoying if this were the proper behavior. Both the Shudra and the prostitute were drunk. The prostitute's eyes were rolling in intoxication, and her dress had become loose. Such was the condition in which Ajamil saw them.
So you see, Ajamil was living a life in the mode of goodness, in Sattva-gun, and then he saw these two individuals that were behaving in the mode of ignorance here. And it's said that in the mode, when you're under ignorance, what is good you think is wrong. What is wrong you think is good. Everything is like flipped upside down like that. So for them, they were thinking, hey, this is great. We're enjoying life. We're given this body for a reason. Why not enjoy it? So this is ignorance. We'll keep going.
The Sudra, his arm decorated with turmeric powder, was embracing the prostitute. When Ajamila saw her, the dormant lusty desires in his heart awakened, and in illusion he fell under their control.
As far as possible, he patiently tried to remember the instructions of the Shastras, not even to see a woman. With the help of this knowledge and his intellect, he tried to control his lusty desires, but because of the force of Cupid within his heart, he failed to control his mind.
So you see, poor little Ajamil, he was fighting with his senses here. He knew, his intelligence was telling him, don't look, keep your eyes away. But then his sense of sight and his sense of touch were so strong that he wasn't able to resist, unfortunately. He failed to control his mind because the intelligence wasn't purified enough. It wasn't Krishna conscious enough.
In the same way that the sun and the moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahmana lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of the situation, He always thought of the prostitute, and within a short time he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all the regulative principles of a Brahmana.
Next one, please.
Thus, Ajamil began spending whatever money he had inherited from his father to satisfy the prostitute with various material presentations so that she would remain pleased with him. He gave up all his Brahmanical activities to satisfy the prostitute.
Yeah, so he began spending all his money that he had inherited from his father to satisfy the prostitute. Yeah. So he started losing everything, even materially. Next one, please.
Because his intelligence was pierced by the lustful glance of the prostitute, the victimized Brahmana Ajamila engaged in sinful acts in her association. He even gave up the company of his very beautiful young wife, who came from a very respectable Brahmana family. Although born of a Brahmana family, this rascal, bereft of intelligence, because of the prostitute's association, earned money somehow or other, regardless of whether properly or improperly, and used it to maintain the prostitute's sons and daughters.
So you see, because now he was so attached to this prostitute, so he had to somehow sustain her, and he didn't have enough money to sustain her desires. Because the thing is, lust is not only expressed in a sexual way. Lust means to have a desire for something that is forbidden, something that is like not ours to enjoy. So if somebody has strong sex desire, like perhaps this prostitute has, or Ajamil has, it's not only that they desire sex, it is the desire just more and more things, more and more enjoyment overall, or more and more appreciation or prestige, or lust can manifest in so many different ways. It's the root cause of our bondage in this material world. 67, please.
The Brahmana irresponsibly spent his long lifetime transgressing all the rules and regulations of the Holy Scripture, living extravagantly and eating food prepared by a prostitute. Therefore, he is full of sins, he is unclean and is addicted to forbidden activities.
So this is the last one we'll read.
This man Ajamil did not undergo atonement, therefore because of his sinful life, we must take him into the presence of Yamraj for punishment. There, according to the extent of his sinful acts, he will be punished and thus purified.
Yeah, so this is the Yamadutas that are speaking right now. They're trying to justify their case to the Vishnudutas. The Vishnudutas are like, hey, wait a minute, he chanted the name of Narayan, let him be. But then the Yamadutas are like, let me explain what this man did throughout his life. So now we'll focus on 63. Tanimita smaravyaja Gahagasto vichetanaha Tameva manasadyayan Svadarmadviramaha Tan nimita smahan vyaja Gahagasto vichetanaha Tan eva manasadyayan Svadarmadviramaha. Please recite. Tan nimita smaran vyaja Gaho gasto vichetanaha Tam eva manasadyayan Svadarmadviramaha. Tanimita smara vyaja Gahagasto vichetanaha Tam eva manasadhyayan Swadharma viraramaha Tanimita smara vyaja Gahagasto vichetanaha Tam eva manasadhyayan Swadharma viraramaha. Matajis. Tanimita smara vyaja Gahagasto vichetanaha Tameva manasadhyayan Swadharmad virama. So we'll say the word for word together. Tat nimita, caused by the sight of her. Smara vyaja, taking advantage of his thinking of her always. Graha grasta, being caught by an eclipse. Vichetanaha, having completely forgotten his real position. Tam, her. Eva, certainly. Manasa, by the mind. Dhyayan, meditating upon. Svadharma, from the regulative principles executed by a Brahmana. Viraramaha, he completely ceased. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the same way that the sun and moon are eclipsed by a low planet, the Brahmin lost all his good sense. Taking advantage of this situation, he always thought of the prostitute, and within a short time, he took her as a servant in his house and abandoned all the regulative principles of a Brahmana. Purport. By speaking this verse, Shukadev Goswami wants to impress upon the mind of the reader that Ajamil's exalted position as a Brahmana was vanquished by his association with the prostitute, so much so that he forgot all his Brahminical activities. Nevertheless, at the end of his life, by chanting the 4 syllables of the name Narayan, he was saved from the gravest danger of falling down. Svalpam api asya dharmasya tayate mahato bayat. Even a little devotional service can save one from the greatest danger. Devotional service, which begins with chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is so powerful that even if one falls down from the exalted position of a Brahmin through sexual indulgence, he can be saved from all calamities if he somehow or other chants the holy name of the Lord. This is the extraordinary power of the Lord's holy name. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, it is advised that one not forget the chanting of the holy name even for a moment. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavataha. There are so many dangers in this material world that one may fall down from exalted position at any time. Yet, if one keeps himself always pure and steady by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he will be safe without a doubt. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Yeah, this is a very, very important pastime, actually, in the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada put a lot of emphasis on this because it shows the power of the holy name. One thing, it shows the power of the holy name, but it also shows that Krishna doesn't forget us. Once we start the path, once we're on the path and we're attempting to be devotees and we're attempting to serve him and follow his instructions, even if we stray away, even if we fall down, Krishna's got our back. He's there. And, he's going to set something up. There's going to be an arrangement. And it might take a long time. It might take your whole life. It might take multiple lives. But somehow or other, Krishna says in the Gita that everyone follows his path in all respects. Everybody's on the path towards him. We're just at different levels. And sometimes our advance is not so linear. It's not just constantly like, okay, going up and up and up. It might be that you go up, and then you fall down a little bit, and you go up more, and then you fall down a lot, It's kind of like that. But Krishna says there's no loss or diminution in your bhakti. So today is, this is the day that the Damodar Leela. Can anybody see a connection between this pastime and the Damodar Leela, the story of Krishna and the Mother Yashoda? It's not so obvious. It's maybe not the part that we focus on the most. So once Krishna was tied to the mortar, he pulled the mortar, and then he pulled down 2 trees, the 2 Arjuna trees. And these were demigods, the sons of Kuveras, Nala Kuvera and Manigriva. And they were trapped, or they were given the body as trees because they fell down from their position. They were demigods, but one day they were caught naked, enjoying with some celestial girls. And even when Narada Muni, the greatest sage, the greatest devotee, came, still they didn't cover themselves. Still they had no shame. So they were very degraded. So it's similar in the sense that they come from a very high position, like Ajamil, exalted position as devotees, but then they got caught by Maya. They got caught by Maya. And so it can happen to any one of us. And this is why we always want to practice humility and realize that my status or my position as a devotee, my level of purity is dependent on the Lord, is dependent on the Lord's mercy and Guru's mercy. And we can, and it can go away. Our creeper, our plant of devotional service, which is actually what keeps us strong, which is actually what keeps us away from Maya. Because we understand we always have to serve either one or the other. Either we're serving Maya or we're serving Krishna. Either we're serving our senses, our mind, our desires, material desires, or we're serving Krishna's senses, Krishna's mind, Krishna's desires. We can't have both at the same time. But what happens if we offend Krishna? If we offend Krishna, one, by offending him in the form of his holy name. For example, by chanting neglectfully, inattentively, watching TV, scrolling on the phone, talking with somebody, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yeah, so I went there, Hare Krishna. You know what I mean? This is an offense actually to the holy name, because imagine you're calling Krishna. You're like, hey Krishna, come over. I want to spend time with you. And then he comes, but then you're like, okay, but let me just be on my phone, or let me just watch TV, or let me, and he's right there with us. So this is an offense that can actually, it's said in Madhurika Kadamrika, I think it's called Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He talks about the 9 stages of advancement in devotional service, and it's not so linear that you just go from one to the other. You can be advancing, but at the same time you could be watering the Bhaktilata beach, like the seed of devotional service, but you could also simultaneously be watering weeds at the same time. And you can do that by offenses. So there's various offenses. There's Nama Parad, which we recite every morning, the 10 offenses against the holy name. These are not a joke. Sometimes we can get a little bit mechanical, just saying it. We're all saying it together, and we're not necessarily thinking about, okay, am I really following this, or have I actually dug into each one of them and realized what do they actually mean? So, and the main one there is what's the first Nama Parad? To blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives to propagate the holy name of the Lord. So a term for that would be Vaishnava Parad. So is to offend or to criticize or to talk ill of devotees that are seriously endeavoring to spread the holy name of the Lord. And this is very displeasing to Krishna. Any parent would understand if you find out that your dear child is being treated like this, or he's being offended or criticized, it's worse than being criticized yourself. It's just like, you can say whatever you about me, but you better not hurt my child, that I love. So it's like that. Devotees are like Krishna's very dear children, and we should treat them as such. And it's, we're going to have our flaws. We're going to have our shortcomings. It's the material world. It's Kali Yuga. It's the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. But devotees, everyone overall, but especially devotees, should be given all respect. And if we see something that we don't like in somebody, chances are it's because it's inside of us. And we just don't want to face it. And we don't like to see it somebody else because we don't like that it's inside of us, and it kind of reminds us of ourselves like that. So I kind of went off track on there. I don't know what happened. Okay, so what were we talking about? We're talking about Ajamil, and we're talking about the Damodar Leela and how it relates that any one of us, even at a very high position, we can fall down. We've seen this even in our own movement. And any movement, in any religious tradition, we've seen that great exalted personalities can go through hard times and struggle with Maya. But we can always come back. And that's the whole point of this section of the Bhagavatam, is that Shukadeva Goswami and Maharaj Parikshit are discussing what do you do when you fall down? What do you do when you go through some challenges with Maya and your senses take over and you do something wrong? And at first they were discussing atonement. That's a process that's in other religion. I remember when I grew up Christian, Catholic, and there was this idea. Sometimes there would be like priests that come to our school, and they would set up these booths in the big dining hall, and they would be like kind of like, you have a screen, and you would sit on the other side. You wouldn't see him on the other side, and then you could just say whatever, like, oh yeah, I pulled my sister's hair or something like that, or and then he would kind of be like, okay, chant, do however many Hail Marys on your rosary or something like that. I suppose it's not that far off from our approach. Our approach is, pick yourself up, keep chanting Hare Krishna, pray to the Lord for guidance, keep doing your service, keep hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and the scriptures, and talk to your mentors. That's the biggest thing. What I've noticed, that's the biggest thing. To advance in Krishna consciousness is you need to have at least one, if not more, like mentors, like gurus, And it doesn't necessarily have to be like Diksha Guru that you take initiation from, but somebody that you see that, okay, he is or she is at the level that I want to be. He has the they have the purity, they have the intention, they are doing the services that I want to be doing for Krishna. So let me take shelter of them. And let me go to them whenever I have my issues, whenever I have my temptations, whenever I have my doubts. Let me go to them and let me inquire submissively. Like, I don't know anything, Prabhu, Mataji. I don't, please guide me. And this is the secret. This is the secret to spiritual life. All the acharyas have done this. We see the acharyas have like very elevated, empowered souls, which they are, but why are they empowered? Because they were submissively surrendered to their authorities or their spiritual masters. Even Srila Prabhupada himself, he came to see his spiritual master. At that time, he didn't know it was going to be his spiritual master. He came to see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And, as you do with the sadhu, when you are pious, you go and you pay obeisances. And right away, he lifted his head, and right away, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was like, you are learned in English. You should spread this knowledge from this mission of Lord Chaitanya to the Western world, to the English-speaking world. Boom, right there. Huge instructions. They didn't even have, material relationship yet. But right away he got the instructions and he took it to heart, and he had it as a mission. And he didn't do it the next day. It took some years to make it happen. But look at us now, Look at us now. So that's a big lesson that I've learned. The only reason that I'm able to make any advancement is just because I'm following the instructions of my spiritual masters. So in this case of Ajamil, and also in the case of Nalakuvera and Manigriva, how is it that they ended up having a good outcome? They ended up being liberated, actually. And that is because of, one thing is their past pious activities, and another thing is the mercy of the Lord. So two things have to be there, and that's the main message of the Damodar pastime is mercy of the Lord and our own endeavor, our own sincere desire. And that's what was stopping Mother Yashoda from binding Krishna to the mortar. Was there was always 2 inches too short. No matter how much rope she was getting more and more rope, and it was always 2 inches too short, and that represents our own endeavor and the Lord's mercy. So both have to be there. And how do we experience the Lord's mercy? We can experience it in our day-to-day lives, but what I've been finding most obvious of experiencing the Lord's mercy is through his devotees, through the devotees' mercy. And how do we get the devotees' mercy? By pleasing the devotees and surrendering onto them. It's just like a chain. It's literally just like a chain. It's like I'm surrendered onto my Gurudev, he's surrendered on to his Gurudev, and it literally just keeps going all the way up to the Lord himself, like Lord Sri Krishna. This is parampara. And because we're tapped in to the original energy source, then we are full of energy, then we are empowered. And we can do things that we never thought would be even possible. And that's because we're not actually doing it. We're literally just like instruments in the Lord's service. And if we can see it like that, there's no limit to what can be done. So maybe I'll stop here and open it up for discussions and questions. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention also briefly Diwali as well, because I wish I could speak more on it. But I could see a parallel also, because Diwali is all about light winning over darkness, good overcoming evil in the end. And that's what happened when, Ravana was like a actual demon, like a person demon, and the Lord came and got rid of him and saved Mother Sita and everyone. So that's an example of the Lord saving us from demoniac forces. But then in the Ajamil pastime and in the pastime with Manigriva and Nalakuvera, by the Lord's hand in the matter, his own mercy, it was the demon inside of their own heart that got destroyed by the mercy of the Lord. So, little parallel that I make there. Okay. Hare Krishna. Any thoughts or reflections? Prabhu, you have something?
In Anjamil's better days, it's mentioned that he didn't have any envy of anyone or didn't criticize people. And you're also saying how that's the first offense. So I was reading that Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, he was famous that criticism never left his lips. That if there was ever discussion about another devotee's misbehavior, he would always just tune out of the conversation. He wouldn't listen and he wouldn't partake. He said that they're all serving Krishna and that's all. So I noticed also that devotees who make thousands of other people into devotees don't spend any time criticizing others. You can be with somebody like Jayapataka Swami or Radhanath Swami, Lokanath Maharaj for days at a time, and criticism's sort of conspicuous by its absence. You know, they never say anything bad about anybody. So I was trying to be like that, or I was thinking that was the goal. But then devotees tell me that, well, that's the ultimate goal. That's like, you know, that's not practical. You know, there's people doing things that are wrong and they have to be corrected. And it's our job to correct them if we know what's wrong. We see something wrong, we should do something to stop it. So is it possible to actually be free from the propensity to find faults in others, or is it necessary to criticize people sometimes?
Well, to answer your question, yes, it is possible to be free of the propensity to criticize, because we, like you said, we see these exalted personalities that have that quality. However, intention really matters. So, and our service matters. What is it for most of us? There's no need to criticize, but in the rare occasion that we're given a certain position of responsibility or be like a servant leader, then constructive criticism can be applicable. However, it should be dealt with the individual in question in a respectful, nonviolent way. The only devotees that should actually ever have this kind of service should have reached a certain level of purity, in the sense, a certain level of freedom from false pride, false prestige, false ego, so that whenever they speak in this way, in this constructive criticism type of way, it is completely benevolent. It is completely like, I am saying this for your own good, because I care about you, because I think that this knowledge, this information, or this input, this opinion will help you in your devotional service. So, you know, how many of us can say that we're free from this pride, or this desire for recognition, or this desire for control, or feeling better than others? You know, I can say for myself, I'm battling with that, you know, definitely. So then we have to be very careful. But once somebody is completely purified, then they can share their observations, because at that point, they're just representing Krishna at that point. They're just like, the spiritual master is called transparent via medium of the Lord. Like, the Lord is speaking through that person. So, does that answer your question, Prabhu? Yeah, thank you. I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on that. Do you want to say something, or no?
This is, I think this is an important topic for sure, because we, you know, in devotee communities, we're in association with each other so much, and so on one side we want to help each other to progress, and on the other side it can be, you know, detrimental to our own spiritual life and to that of others if you know, corrections or things like that are done in an improper way. I was thinking, as you were asking the question and you were answering it, like time, place, and circumstance, I think is really important, and relationship. If you have a relationship with the person, and you know that's going to help them in their spiritual life by correcting them, and if it's done in such a way that ultimately, how can I help this person's spiritual life? I can't remember. I think it was Vijay Prabhu gave a class many months ago. He was here, and he said they were on traveling book distribution together for some time with a group of devotees, and they were starting to kind of argue and fight with each other, and if I'm remembering correctly, they kind of adopted a principle that anything that we're doing, is it going to benefit this person's spiritual life? Is it going to encourage them and inspire them more in their spiritual life? And is it going to help me as well? And if it is, then, we can talk about it. But if it isn't, then I'm not going to go there, because I don't want to risk hurting somebody else's spiritual life and hurting my own. But yeah, it's we're all in the shower. We're all conditioned souls trying to purify ourselves of lifetimes of conditioning. And so it's not easy to associate. And then the more you bring devotees together, then we start rubbing up, our rough edges rub up against each other, and we're like, rocks in the river over time. It becomes smooth if we can tolerate it. It's a very complex question. When is the right time to correct somebody else? Radhanath Maharaj said something really nice when he was here last time in Dallas. I got the chance to sit and meet with him for a little while, and he said that he felt that right now, more than ever, devotees really need to be encouraged and appreciated. And he said that even when the time comes that we need to correct somebody, or we need to, in that sense, that it should be done in such a way that they feel encouraged and they feel appreciated. So I think it's, just a few thoughts. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mother Tammy.
Thank you for a very nice class, Ajit. I'd like to say I'm probably one of the worst at thinking things in my mind that I shouldn't think in my mind about other people. But I know there's a good Bible quote that says, "Log out of your own eye, and then you'll be able to see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye." And I think that's something we have to think about before we start chastising other people. Is what do I do?
I'd like to hear what is your purport on this? Because my struggle with the Bible is there's usually no purport, so I'd like to hear what your purport is on this.
My purport on that is that it's very easy to see other people's offenses without looking at our own offenses first, and seeing, and just like you said, if I see somebody doing something and it bothers me, it's probably because I'm guilty of that same thing myself. So I think that's the purport on that, is that, if make sure that your own backyard is clean before you go trying to clean your neighbor's backyard.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, before we close, does anybody have any suggestions on what we can do if we, let's say I find myself thinking a certain way about somebody negatively? What can we do about it? Do we just ignore it, or what's the solution over there? Ishtagoshi? So you mean that's a really good idea. Yeah, we don't do that enough. Yeah, just sit down and like express yourself and just say, hey, offer obeisances. That's nice, actually. Thank you. I think over there you want to say something.
So the only difference for me between a dead body and a alive body is that Krishna is in that living body. And if you imagine that the super soul is in every single person, if you imagine, is that better?
Yeah, that's better, thank you.
So for me, the difference between a person that's alive and a dead is that the Krishna, the super soul, is inside of every single person that you meet, even the people that we've known for years, even the strangers. And if you hold back and can feel and see that, you would not be so offended by people.
That's nice, yeah.
Because he's in every single person that you meet. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Jai Shri Shri Radha Chanchi. Yeah, Krishna is in all of us, and that's a sign of self-realization, actually, once you've completely realized that Krishna is there in everyone. So that's nice. Thank you, everybody, for your nice contribution to the class. I feel so grateful every morning to have these wonderful Srimad Bhagavatam classes. I hope you get the chance to travel and visit different temples, and I hope you come back realizing just how fortunate we are here to have this wonderful association. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you all so much for being here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank Mother Kumkumangi and Mother Manjuali and Mother Ishru Kumari and Hema Mataji and Ananga Manjari Mataji and all of the devotees that helped to cook the breakfast feast that we'll have today. And wanted to thank Mathura Prabhu and the devotees that helped to set up for Prashadam and to manage the serve out. So very grateful to them. Anybody who has time and would like to help with the cleanup after Prashadam, please come see me. We'll have a little team and just clean up after the breakfast. So breakfast Prashadam will be served downstairs in the where we normally serve the Sunday feast out. So we have space for everybody to honor Prashadam together. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Krishna Kirtana Ganana Krishna Kirtana Ganana Nartana Prabhu Premamritam Vanidhi Veera Veera Jana Priya Priya Karo Nemal Ramu Pujito Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Bhuva Bhara Vahan Tarak Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujugo Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujuga Riji Bhagavata Krishna Kirtana Gana Veera Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirma Pujitam Sri Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Chaitanya Kripa Bharau Bhuvi Bhuva Bharava Antaraka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghujuga Sri विचारणैकनिपुणः सद्धर्म संस्थापकः लोकानां हितकारिणः त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं करो विचारणैकनिपुणः सद्धर्म संस्थापकः लोकानां हितकारिणः त्रिभुवने मन्नं शरणं विचारणैकनिपुणः